Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. Now, gold prices have seen a marginal increase of rupees 1 since yesterday as prices continue to move in a tight range. This comes after gold had declined yesterday, tracking a rebound in international markets following a brief price correction overseas. Now, gold prices today stand at rupees 1,22,580 rupees per 10 grams for 24 carat gold and rupees 1,12,360 rupees per 10 grams for 22 carat gold. All right, let's look at the gold prices as compared to yesterday, last month and last year to give you an overview of how gold has been performing. Now, when we compare it to yesterday's price, as we've already told you, on 6th November 2025, 24 carat gold per gram stood at 12,257 rupees, and today it saw a slight rise of 1 rupees at 12,258 rupees. 22 carat gold stood at 12,235 rupees, and today it's at 11,236 rupees. 18 carat gold, yesterday it stood at 9,193 rupees, while today it's at 9,194 rupees. So clearly we can see that slight marginal rise. However, this is because it's trying to correct its prices over the past 2-3 weeks. So we are seeing a stabilization of the prices of gold. Now, when we compare it to last week, 31st October, gold 24 carat per gram stood at 12,328 rupees. So we had seen a slight rise during the Diwali Dhanteras period, and now we can see it correcting itself to 12,258 rupees. 22 carat gold stood at 11,300 rupees on 31st October 2025, and today it's at 11,236. 18 carat gold per gram stood at 9,246 rupees on 31st October, and today it's at 9,194 rupees. So clearly we can see how the prices are now correcting themselves and they are turning into a more stabler format. However, when we compare it to a longer graph, when we compare it to longer durations like last month, we will see that it will always be an upward trend because gold prices keep on rising and they have seen an upward trend this year. So when we look at 7th October as compared to 7th November, we have seen an increase of almost 200 rupees. So 24 carat gold last month was at 12,202 rupees. 22 carat gold was at 11,185 rupees and 18 carat gold was at 9,152 rupees, and all of these have seen a slight increase today. So we can clearly see that the graph has always been increasing. Now, when we compare it to last year, we will see that the graph is greater, the difference is greater, because today it's at 12,258, 24 carat gold per gram, but last year on November 7th, 2024, it was only 7,856. 22 carat gold per gram stood at 7,200 rupees last year, but now it's at 11,236. Also, 18 carat gold stood at 5,891 rupees only per gram, and now it's at 9,194. So clearly we can see that gold has always seen an upward trend this year, but we will see why the stabilization in prices is continuing. Joining me on the broadcast is Dr. Sharat Kohli, Senior Economist. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning. A very good morning to you. We want to understand, we have been talking about the stabilization of the prices of gold. What are the global issues, or how is it actually maintaining this stable pace, because we are only seeing a 1 rupee or a 2 rupee drop over the past 2 weeks?
Good morning, Shivani. Good morning to you and NewsX viewers. I think there are two opposite forces which are acting in gold prices. One set of forces is trying to drive it up. The other set of forces are trying to drive it down. So that's what is holding the price. It's very stabilized. Although I would say this consolidation, this stabilization is very healthy from asset class perspective. It has settled down, so it's not going below $3,900. Well, as I have been informing you, I normally track it in dollars because COMEX is where the prices originate from in New York, and that's how the prices open in India. In fact, the rest of the world opens prices on that basis. So I'll prefer to talk in US dollars, not that because I'm a big US fan, but because the prices originate from there. So $3,900 to $425. This has been the range, Shivani, as you rightly said. The prices have been fluctuating between this range. The factors which are in favor of rise in prices still is the tariff war which is going on, which President Trump has done across the world. A little bit of truce on China, which is the opposite factor. U.S.-China truce for a temporary phase, I would say for 1 year or so. That has settled down the prices a bit. Geopolitical tensions are still building. The word nuclear is being used more often than not. Nuclear testing today is becoming a norm across the world. Well, this word used to be a taboo at one point of time. There were sanctions imposed on countries which were doing nuclear testing, but today President Trump said Pakistan is doing nuclear testing, other countries are doing nuclear testing, so we should also do nuclear testing. So I think the word nuclear is becoming very common, and the impact of that can be devastating, which causes geopolitical uncertainty, which is good for gold prices. It is good for gold prices, not good otherwise, obviously, but somehow gold likes this kind of a situation. Geo-economic uncertainty is also there. A US shutdown has gone into its longest phase, Shivani. It has crossed that 35-day all-time high. There is a risk of food aid in US. There is a risk of airports shutting down in US. There is a risk of defense personnel salary in US. So I think US is heading for a chaos as far as economics is concerned, because this lack of funds can literally shut down US entirely in the days to come. President Trump he might be busy sorting out the world problems and conflicts, so he says, but then I think he should be paying attention to his own country as well, where a lot of things are happening. US is sharply in debt. 130% is the GDP versus debt ratio, which is a very poor ratio as far as economics is concerned. So those tensions are there. The global economy is not doing very well. The factors which are in favor of fall in gold prices, which are letting the gold prices fall, is a bit of China trade tensions. And also President Trump has lost elections in New York. Mamdani is the mayor, so which means the support for Republicans is eroding. President Trump has lost his approval ratings up from 52%, 47% down to 36%. So it is being envisaged now that Republicans are losing ground. So if President Trump may have to, quit office sooner or whatever. So that is a speculation being made. So this may be bad for gold prices. By the way, a lot of people, Shivani, who made profits on gold and silver have a reason to thank President Trump for his economic policies. So if President Trump's governance is in risk, obviously it's bad for gold prices. I'm putting in inverted commas, it's bad for gold prices. So those are some of the factors which are working in opposite direction, which is holding the gold price on. But the consolidation and stabilization, as I said, is very healthy. People who want to invest, it's a good opportunity for them to buy in smaller lots and hold it for a very long term. 2 to 5 years is the holding term. They can consult their financial advisors, investment advisors. We are just doing a news analysis of what factors lead to gold prices moving up and down, Shivani.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Kohli, for providing those valuable